from a chilly, beautiful sunrise here in southern Ontario of -8C, -8C, as the sirens are going off, 18 Fahrenheit, as cryptocurrency tried to rally after is underway over the next couple of years. And the World War III is tightening up with people trying to get off the dollar in the United States, saying, I don't think so, my friend. You get off the dollar, not so good things happen to you world leaders, or in Iran's case, the supreme leader. They go down when they want to go off the United States dollar, and that's a big, big problem. And that's something that we just seen again. Iran trying to go off the dollar, and this excuse and propaganda and lies are made up and sprawled to the people on the reason they went in there. Yes, he was a bad man. Yes, he was killing his own people and all this nonsense. Not nonsense, but stuff. But you go off the US dollar, that's what draws the final line, or even think about talking about it, let alone acting, right? And they axed them. But you can see the Bitcoin tried to rally yesterday. We did have we'll go straight into the Bitcoin price here this morning as the sirens are off now. The alert is over for right now. We've gotten your attention. Wow, they just come right on board now with their ads. If we zoom in off the weekly time frame, we get into a more appropriate time frame here. Become members of Jabroni Killers. Video description and/or pinned comment, $3.99 a month. It starts at to help support your favorite crypto channel. And the only channel they're spilling the truth, telling you like it is, and not worried about subscriber count and trying to fleece you by telling you things that you want to hear at the appropriate time to get you to buy something. You can see we tried to pump yesterday. We gave it all back. And now we're sort of just trading in the very short time frame, trading sideways. And what we're still trying to watch is this going to be a confirmed breakup? And we're going to have a big, massive pump to the upside? Or after this long, extended consolidation that we've been on for over a month now, since the beginning of February when we fell down into this region, are we going to hold that and pump? And this is just an extended, very long bottom being drawn out, which usually is not the case. Usually when there's a bottom or a top, usually it's very quick reacting because it doesn't give a bunch of people time to either exit out of a position at the top or buy in where they think a bottom is, right? So it's going to be very interesting the way this plays out, because if it breaks up, you have $85,000 as your upside major overhead resistance, right? What we've been talking about for a few weeks, actually over a month now since we've been consolidating in this zone, right? And then we still have our original target from breaking the 200-day moving average, which is down there at 51,285.05, right? And that would be your next drop point before you would see a bounce or some buyers or where they should be, right? And that's what we're looking at here in the Bitcoin price. But with all the war tension, like I was harping on yesterday, Bitcoin and crypto over the last 5 months are down 50%, even with the wars, even with the infighting in the Middle East, inflation going up, dollar devaluing. Gold and silver were rallying the last 12 months, 18 months. Bitcoin hasn't, because it's not reacting as a hedge. It's not reacting as a store of value. It's reacting as a speculatory, high-risk investment. Same thing with all the crypto. It's what it is. It's a speculatory investment. High risk, right? If we look at the Ethereum price, which it never goes straight through Ethereum, it must always stop there. You can see the Ethereum price is doing the same thing. It had another little pump yesterday, back up just above the blue support resistance box to just below that pump that you had right there last week that got up to 2144 over a few hour pump. Now we're trading down, and now again, we're in the same spot as the Bitcoin price. Well, all these coins are in the same spot in these extended consolidations, right? Trading sideways. We're either going to pump straight down and break into this blue trading box and not be able to hold it and come all the way down to 1,036, or we're going to get some buyers to come in and we're going to attempt to make a run up to the 200-day moving average in the weekly time frame at 26, 27, and then attempt to come up to this blue support and resistance area at 29.64, right? But that's all. That's the wide spread. That's the zone we're in right now. It's high risk on either side. If you're trying to short it, it's high risk. And if you're trying to go in on a major long, it's high risk. Now, if you're just dollar cost averaging, it's a good spot because it's an extended period of consolidation well below more than 50% down from its all-time high. Even though it could go down more, probably will go down more, it's giving you a chance to buy if you've never bought. And I'm not telling you to buy, I'm just saying, right? It was up to all-time highs at 5,000. Now it's at 1962 for a month. If you want to buy some, it's a better time to buy than at 5,000 on the way up, right? And then if it goes down a little bit, say it goes down 50% from here and ends up at 1,000, well, just buy as much as you did at 2,000 at 1,000. Now your average cost is 1,500. Better than 5,000, right? Better than buying the top and being down 40 to 80% in 2 months after you first bought, right? So that's a lot of stuff's going to go on here. Same thing with the XRP. We're sitting just below the 200-day moving average in the weekly time frame. We've made a higher low off the wick bottom down there at about $1.11, $1.12. Then we shot up all the way to about $1.70, came down to just below the 200-day moving average in the weekly time frame. And we've been struggling there for about 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks, where we barely touch above it, right? Like right there, sell off, right there, sell off, touch it, sell off, touch it, sell off, right? So this is either going to have a big explosion to the downside with an initial support level down there at about 89 cents after you take out the critical $1.21, right? Your next major support would be down there around 89 cents. And then I think we're eventually going down to 70 and maybe lower, but that's to be determined. That's not a sure thing yet. But on any kind of regional pump rate here, like we've been talking about the last 7 weeks, because nothing's really happened, your upside potential is that 50-day moving average in the daily time frame and that 200-day moving average up there. We got to readjust those today, but those are your major upside potentials. The spread is the same across the sphere, right? No matter what coin, look, you got your big consolidation on Chainlink. I don't think it's worth a shit, but on the pump down, you got a big move to the downside. And on a pump up, right? I'm not even zooming out in this fucking pile of shit. Same thing. Algo's giving back all that gain that it made. And this is what I think a lot of these coins are doing. And I've been telling you they were probably going to do. Algo's done it. You can see the big 6 to 8 euphoric pump from the Donald Trump induced rally. Look where you're at now. You're below it. You're giving it all back, right? If you didn't sell it, because they're pump and dumps. They're just fucking pump and dumps. You don't buy it in here. If you buy it in there, you're fucked. But if you bought it down here and sold the pump, you can make a little money. But there's very short windows and there's very narrow gaps and small margin of error in order to make any substantial profit in these pump and dumps, right? And that's all they are. I know people don't like it. Join Jabroni Killers and you'll stop getting fleeced. If this is hurting you or makes you angry that I'm telling you that these are pump and dumps and most of them are garbage, if that makes you angry, if you get mad at me, I'm talking directly to you, and you need to be members of Jabroni Killers, because I can guarantee you've been fleeced a few times by these criminal manipulators and paid infiltrators on social media and off your own emotions, and you're sick of it, and you need to be members of Jabroni Killers. And then when I call these Ponzi schemes, pump and dumps, charlatan coins, the 99.99 percentile, once you're a member of Jabroni Killer and you understand and you get educated, you won't feel anything anymore when I say it, because you're not one of those people, right? That's what we're trying to tell you. You need to be smarter. You need to buy good assets, hard assets. Video description and or pinned comment. I have books that I have read from Robert Kiyosaki to Mike Maloney, Gold and Silver, Dave Ramsey, right? Peter Schiff. These are all books over 20 years that I reread and listened to these people's podcasts, and that have helped me going from broke and zero money to 28 cents in my checking account to having a net worth closer to $1 million than not $1 million right now, 10 years later, right? We've accumulated a vast amount of wealth, not because our income increased, But because our standard of living did not go up with our income increasing, we kept a low standard of living with a paid off condo that we bought that was a foreclosure, which was a smart strategic move. And it is obviously 10x the value because I bought it for 12 grand and it's worth about 110. It's a nice condo built in 1,000 square feet. Could I have upgraded to a bigger home as I've made more money the last decade? Absolutely, I could. But that would have just left a major overhead mortgage payment every month, paying a compounding 30-year interest rate on, say, a $250,000 property. I'm paying $550,000 after 30 years or more. Now maybe $700,000 with interest rates. Plus, you got everything else that goes with it: the taxes, the maintenance, the utilities, the fixing up, the shit breaking, the sidewalk, everything that goes with the home, right? Vastly would have increased my cost of living, right? So I didn't do that. And I'm sacrificing now, like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger and all these smarter than I am people that got more wealth than I will ever have, started out with. As you make more money, you don't spend more money. Like the great Patrick Ewing said, a flawed philosophy. We make a lot of money, but we spend a lot of money, right? You don't want to be that guy. You want to make a lot of money, but you want to spend a little money and invest and save the rest, right? I use a 10% rule, right? 90% of my money goes 25%, bam, out of my check, straight to my 401k. Can't even see it, touch it, nothing, gone. Then I take 10% of the remaining money after taxes are paid, and that's my money to do stuff. If I want to buy beer, if I want to go to a ball game, whatever I want to do, gamble, that's my money to do that with. And the other 80% or the other 90% of the post-tax money, post paying the bills, go straight to savings, straight to my investments. I don't fuck around with it, right? I leave 10%. So if my check at the end of the week, if I have $500 left after all expenses and taxes and 401k contributions are made, 10% of that I'll keep for spending. The other 90% straight to investing, straight to, or savings, money market, whatever, straight to not being spent. And after a few years go by, you'll notice even stuff in money markets earning 3 to 5%. That compounding starts and money just starts. You get $8,000 a year out of here in interest, a capital appreciation there, continuing to stack savings and continuing to pump into the 401k. All of a sudden, 10 years later, you have a net worth with zero debt, and I owe nobody money, no margin, no credit card debt, no loans, no auto loans, no cell phone loans, no 1 year interest free on couches. I pay cash for everything. Fuck that interest free for a year. That's $200 or $500 a month coming out of your paycheck. $100 a week. Don't want to do that. No debt to any. I have zero debt to anybody. I owe nothing to nobody, right? And we've done that philosophy. Read those books, and we've created our way to having a net worth of over $500,000, right? Stick with the gold standard. I have to get to work at 7:02 a.m. J